Alright, so today we're diving into the fascinating world of cell communication. Have you ever wondered how trillions of cells in your body coordinate their actions? Whether it's repairing tissues, responding to external threats, or maintaining daily functions. By the end of this video, you'll fully understand how cells communicate, the signaling molecules they use, and the types of receptors involved in this process. And if you're eager to dig even deeper, be sure to check out King of the Curve for interactive learning resources that will keep you ahead of the curve. Cells need to communicate to keep everything running smoothly, much like people in a city need to communicate to keep things organized. This communication ensures cells can maintain homeostasis, adapt to changes, and coordinate growth, repair, and defense against threats. Without this cellular chatter, our bodies wouldn't function as a unified whole. Cells communicate in several ways, and we can categorize them based on how far the signal has to travel. 1. Autocrine signaling. Imagine talking to yourself. The cell sends a signal to itself, often to regulate its own activity. 2. Paracrine signaling. This is like chatting with your neighbors. The cell releases a signal that affects nearby cells. 3. Endocrine signaling. Think of this as sending a letter through the mail. Cells release hormones into the bloodstream that travel to distant cells across the body. Cell signals, or ligands, come in two flavors: hydrophobic molecules. These don't mix with water, so they hitch a ride on carrier proteins to reach their destination. Once they arrive, they can easily slip through the cell membrane and interact with receptors inside the cell. Hydrophilic molecules. These love water and travel freely in the extracellular space, but they can't pass through the cell membrane on their own. Instead, they bind to receptors on the cell's surface. Cell signaling occurs in three stages. 1. Reception. The signal molecule binds to a receptor on the target cell's surface or inside it. 2. Transduction. This binding triggers a series of changes inside the cell, similar to flipping a series of switches. 3. Response. The cell finally takes action, whether that's turning on a specific gene, activating an enzyme, or changing its behavior. Let's talk about the three main types of cell surface receptors. 1. G-protein coupled receptors, or GPCRs. These receptors span the cell membrane 7 times and activate G proteins when a signaling molecule binds to them. 2. Enzyme-linked receptors. These receptors have an external part that binds the signaling molecule and an internal part with enzyme activity. 3. Ion channel receptors. Think of these as gates. They open or close when a signaling molecule binds, allowing ions to flow in or out of the cell. GPCRs are incredibly versatile and common, acting like the multi-tools of cell signaling. When a signaling molecule binds to the receptor, it causes a shape change, which then activates a G protein inside the cell. G proteins have 3 parts: alpha, beta, and gamma. When inactive, the alpha subunit holds GDP, keeping the G protein together. But once activated by a GPCR, GDP is swapped for GTP, causing the alpha subunit to separate and relay the signal to other proteins inside the cell. The 3 main G protein types are GQ proteins, activate phospholipase C, producing molecules like IP3 and DAG that further relay the signal. GS proteins stimulate adenylate cyclase, raising levels of cyclic AMP, which activates protein kinase A. GI proteins inhibit adenylate cyclase, acting as a brake on cellular responses. Enzyme-linked receptors often dimerize or come together when a ligand binds. This activates their enzyme domain, which adds phosphate groups to proteins, triggering a whole series of cellular events. Ion channel receptors act like doors. When a signaling molecule binds, they open, allowing ions like calcium or sodium to flow in or out, quickly changing the cell's electrical charge and triggering an immediate response. Hydrophobic signaling molecules, like steroid hormones, don't need surface receptors. They slip right through the cell membrane and bind to receptors inside the cell, often directly influencing gene expression. One of the coolest things about cell signaling is amplification. A single signaling molecule can trigger a cascade, with each step multiplying the signal, ensuring that even a tiny amount of the original molecule has a massive impact on the cell's response. Cells don't just respond to one signal at a time, they receive and integrate countless signals from their environment, ensuring the right response at the right time. Alright, let's sum it up. 1. Cells communicate via autocrine, paracrine, and endocrine signaling. 2. Hydrophobic molecules cross the membrane, while hydrophilic molecules use surface receptors. 3. The three main receptor types are GPCRs, enzyme-linked receptors, and ion channel receptors. 4. Inside the cell, signal transduction pathways amplify the message, leading to a specific cellular response. Understanding these processes is crucial for anyone interested in biology, medicine, or biochemistry. And that wraps up our journey through cell communication. If you're looking to master this and other complex biology topics, check out King of the Curve for interactive study tools that make learning fun and effective. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more science content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.